Woo! Okay, hey guys. So weird. Welcome back to my channel. I have not filmed in so long. I don't even know what I'm doing. I did not even plan to film. I'm in a robe. I mean, my hair is gelled, so like, I'm a mom. I had a baby. Oh my god. Look at me, already ready to cry. So I actually was editing a vlog that I'm hoping to post up this weekend, Labor Day weekend. My channel has been super duper slow, but bear with me, because like I said, I'm a mom now. I had a baby. And there's still probably one more vlog that's gonna go up before you guys see this one, but I'm not too pressed about like uploading and doing all these crazy things, because we've got a lot going on. So I did not plan to film at all today, and it seems so weird to even just like pick up the camera and just start like filming, but that's what we're gonna do. We are just going to film, because if I keep trying to plan it out, it's not going to happen. So I had my baby Friday, June 3rd, 2022. He came into this world at 10:11 a.m. at a whopping, it's like no, 8 pounds, 7 ounces. Oh my God, 19.5 inches long. Wow. Shady, I forgot already. I'm pretty sure it was 19.5 inches long though. Like 90% sure. And it was the best day of my life. But I don't want to sugarcoat anything, so I'm gonna break it down. I'm gonna talk about my labor and delivery. I'm gonna talk about the aftermath, and then I don't know if I want to touch on postpartum. Maybe that'll be like a separate video. But yeah, so we did have to do the scheduled C-section. I ended up waking up that morning and I actually started having contractions, which is so crazy. And we got to the hospital and they did double check and triple check to see if baby had turned around. That was part of the reason why it was a C-section and not an induction. And he was just comfortable head up. So we went through with the C-section, and that itself was crazy. So first getting there, obviously I was excited, I was nervous, it was so many different emotions. And it started off well. Like, we got in, we checked in, we were in a nice room, and then it came time to take blood work. I don't know, I had went a couple of days before to take a COVID test, and I only did the COVID test or whatever test there, I think it was like COVID, strep, and stuff like that. Nowhere did it say I was supposed to be doing blood work. So right off the bat, the nurse was super annoyed that I didn't have blood work done. I don't know why. I got there on time, everything, like they said to be there at 6:30 or something like that. I was there at 6:30. Like, there was no reason for her to have it too. I don't know if she worked the night before. I don't know what the vibes were, but she was super brutal. Like, I had already started like crying because, one, I'm not really good with needles, blood work, and all that other stuff. I know I'm not the only person on the planet. So you know, she kept poking and prodding me. So she poked and prodded me about 3-4 times, and that's when I started like crying. Like, I gave you the first chance, a second chance, and I tried to explain to her where my vein was. But also, since I knew I was going for a C-section, I hadn't eaten or drinking anything since midnight. So I know I was a little bit dehydrated. So she brought someone else in. She also poked and prodded me, and then I guess there's like this machine that they can scan to find a vein. It just didn't work out. And by the grace of God, when they got the third lady in, she was able to just find it, like got my blood work, got my IV, and then I was finally getting back to normal. So they strapped my belly, they were just monitoring baby, getting everything ready, preparing the OR, signing paperwork, all that stuff like that. And then it was time to go. They asked if I wanted a wheelchair, and I'm like, let's just get some steps in. Like, I wanted to get like some of the adrenaline out. So I actually ended up walking to the OR. The room wasn't even that far. It wasn't even like a 5-minute walk, maybe less. So we walk into the OR, everything's going good. And even though I was having a C-section, I guess the anesthetic still goes into your back. I don't know if it's still called an epidural, but basically I was hunched over getting ready for the, whatever, the anesthetic. That one hurt a little bit, not as bad as I expected, I guess, because you're not seeing the needle or whatever. It's kind of weird though, like how you have to hunch, and it's like, you know, I'm 39 weeks pregnant, so it's like, oh, you gotta like do, and I'm like, bruh, there's like a belly in the way. Everything was fine. They laid me down, and I guess that's when they started to, I don't know how to explain it, but basically the medicine started coming into my body. It happened so rapidly that it kind of like freaked me out, because like 1 second I was like laying down normal, and then I couldn't feel anything from like, I guess like neck down. I don't know how far it goes for a C-section, so I started freaking out. Now I don't know if it was at the exact moment they were doing like the incision, but your girl was crying. Okay, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not gonna act like I was like tough city. I was not. I was crying my eyeballs out, and I don't know if he thought I could feel something, but he definitely upped the dosage, because in like a few minutes I was not feeling nothing. Just a lot of like, I could feel like my body was moving, like they were like moving around, tugging and stuff like that. But before that I was literally crying, and I'm like, I need my husband, I need my husband, like where's my husband? Because only one person can be in there with you, but not from the very beginning. He literally gets to come in right before they take baby out, and I'm sure it's for like their safety and whatever, or I don't know what it is. But so I'm there by myself, and it was kind of weird because I had envisioned my labor going differently, as most women do, and it just wasn't the way I had planned it in my head or thought about it going. But eventually Etzel did come in. At that point though, like I said, I was feeling good, and I was like, hey babe. So we're sitting there, and you know, if you've ever had a C-section or seen one like on YouTube, you know, you're laying with your hands like this, and they're letting him know like baby's getting ready to come out. I'm not really recalling like a lot of like verbal or verbiage, but like I said, you know, he upped the dose, so your girl was feeling it. But I do remember the first thing Etzel said was, babe, he has a lot of hair, which makes so much sense now. I had a lot of heartburn, and I know that's like a myth or a wives' tale, or old wives' tale, but I legit sometimes would drink water and have heartburn, so maybe there is something to it. But they took him out, and at that moment, you know, I was just waiting to hear anything, and he gave out a cry. So, you know, some tears started coming down my eyes, and then Etzel walked over, and they did the whole 9, I guess, where they like weighed him and all that stuff like that. And then they came and they put him on my chest. I did get to hold him, and I didn't hold him for long. Like the nurse was very encouraging, and she's like, Mom, here's your baby. And I saw him, cried. We took a couple pictures, which was awesome. But like, because I felt like I couldn't really feel anything, I was so scared to drop him, and I'm like, you know, can you take him? I don't want to drop him. And she's like, no, it's okay. And I'm like, no, like I'm letting you know, like I'm not comfortable, like just take him. She left him on there for like 1 more minute, and then gave him to Etzel, and Etzel was holding him. So watching that was so like, ooh, I don't want to cry, but it was so amazing, because you know, Etzel and I have been together for so long. We've wanted a baby together for so long, so to see it, like, even though like I said, like the dosage was up and I was definitely not 100% me, that's something I feel like I'll never forget. And it was just so awesome to see. And I know that it's different because like Etzel's like covered in these scrubs, and we're like in a operation room and all that stuff like that. But when your baby comes into the world, regardless of how, all of that background is just background. You know what I'm saying? Like now it's like my family is complete. So after that, I don't really remember too much. I know they closed me up, Avi, and then I woke up in recovery. So I think I could have dozed. I don't think they put you to sleep. I think maybe I just ended up dozing off. Remember, I was up super early. I had to be at the hospital 6:30 in the morning. I wasn't getting the best sleep of my life that last trimester. So I woke up in recovery, and your baby isn't there. I don't know if you can request to have your baby in recovery, because I feel like I heard like other people, but you know, it's like curtains and stuff, so I couldn't see, but I could hear. But it was just Etzel and I in recovery, my family calling him, and I remember like people wanting to see me and talk to me, but I just was not 100% myself. Like, I'm waiting for like all the anesthetic and medicine and all that stuff to come out of my body, and recovery just wasn't the best for me. And that's where I feel like it sucked having a C-section, because from there on it was such a blur. So I was in recovery for a little while. The nurse came, she was checking everything, and I could tell I just was not feeling good. I was like, if she moves me, I'm going to puke. And lo and behold, they have to move me. Now I need to go to my postpartum room. So she's wiping me down and moving me and all this stuff like that, and it's over. She gets the baggie, and I'm sick. I'm throwing up. I'm puking. It's not pleasant. Doesn't feel pleasant after having surgery. Doesn't look pleasant. It just was not a vibe. So I threw up once. Then she got me switched up. All the movement was not a vibe. I threw up again. And basically, not to be so detailed, I threw up all the way until I got to my postpartum room. And that, oh, baby, hold on. So with all that going on, I still remember I asked about my baby. She said baby was good, all that stuff. They were gonna get ready to bring him to my room. I asked if he had eaten anything or drank anything. Eaten, drank, you know what I mean. She said no, and I said, okay, well, I don't want any formula. I had made the decision that I wanted my baby to be breastfed or on breast milk only. That's just my personal preference. That has nothing to do with what anybody else has going on. So she said, no, that's fine. It's not gonna happen. Excuse me. I don't know how long after that, but eventually they brought the baby to the room, and he was, bless you. He was, and he is perfection. You just think about and you imagine like what your baby is gonna look like, and then your baby is born, and it's like beyond what you could imagine. And it was just, after that it got better. It was still kind of blurry. Like, coming off of the medication was, at least for me, I feel like they did a little too much, and it took a while. So really, Friday night was quite the blur. I know my mom came to the hospital because she ended up actually staying with me at the hospital, which I feel like was the best decision. Etzel was there for the birth and he was there for the day, but once visiting hours were done, she stayed with me, and I just tell him every day how much of a decision, like, I really struggle with that, because it is our first child together. It was our first experience, but I feel like my mom had been there for my sister when she recovered as well, and she just already knows, like, you know, she's had all her kids. This is not her first grandchild, and I just felt like I really didn't know what to expect, and I didn't make the decision lightly, but Etzel being so supportive, and I appreciate him 1000% for it. And he was like, listen, I agree with you. I think your mom should stay with you. And I said, that, like, I agree. And it felt so much better because at the hospital, and even till now, I did breastfeed. I am breastfeeding. So her being there, like, Etzel, he doesn't know about that. And I don't know about that. This is my first child. She was so helpful in that. Just, you know, when I needed to go to the bathroom, and like and in this sense, I know he would be helpful in that, but you know, the baby's so tiny, so she helped with the diapers, and she's basically taking care of me and the baby. She helped with the breastfeeding and the latching and this and that, and it just felt like Etzel being there would have been like 2 chickens running around with their heads cut off trying to take care of a baby. And I know that they have nurses and they provide all these things there, but let me tell you, there is nothing better than having your mom there. If you're able to have your mom there, you know, I don't know everybody's situation, but for me, it definitely made it better. So I had the baby Friday and I was discharged on Sunday. I was ready to go. I know some people stay until Monday, some people stay longer. I needed to know what I needed to do to get the heck out of there, because I will say the hospital stay just wasn't the most comfortable thing. Hospital beds suck, okay? They just do. If you like them, good for you. I don't. It was super cold, and you know, my mom's a tiny little 5-foot woman, and I'm just like, she's freezing, I'm freezing. Thankfully the baby was good. Like, we had him wrapped in blankets and all that good stuff, and we were just ready to go. So Saturday I really focused on, you know, whatever they said I needed to do. So I needed to pee on my own after removing the catheter. I had to have a bowel movement on my own, or at least pass gas, which I made sure, I'm like, listen, whatever I need to do, like, give me the water, give me the, like, whatever, I'm gonna do it. And then they said I needed to start, you know, like, walking. So what I would do is they had like a pantry and you could go get water there, juice there, ginger ale there, that they can also bring it to you. But after a certain point I was practicing and like walking over there. So Sunday came and I felt really good, in a sense of like, I just had surgery, but I feel good enough to get the heck out of the hospital. Sunday was a little bit tricky. So Saturday was chill. Etzel came first thing in the morning. My dad came, two of my sisters came. I didn't want to have too many visitors at the hospital, but my immediate family, like my main squeezies, that's fine. So they came. Saturday went great. Etzel stayed up until the very last minute. Mom stayed again that second night. And I really couldn't sleep that second night. The baby was a sleep champ. So in that sense, he was good. Just, it was so uncomfortable for me. I was ready to go home. Sunday comes around, and this is where I feel like the experience kind of went downhill. So Saturday night into Sunday, the baby slept like a long stretch. So he basically was in one diaper for a while, but by the time we changed it, it was so full. He clearly had peed multiple times. Night. Come on, bro. But we marked one diaper. So they come in, everything's good. They're working on the discharge papers. So I'm getting ready. I'm putting on the going home outfit because I'm preparing for pictures and all these things like that. Because Friday and Saturday I really wasn't, like, my mom took a lot of pictures, Etzel took a lot of pictures. Thankfully they sent them all to me because I was not awake enough for all of that. And like I said, I am a type of person that I want to live in the moment. So pictures are great, but I don't want to like take away from what's happening in that moment by like, oh, I gotta whip out my phone. So then they come, and the pediatrician on call or whatever, he's like, oh, your baby only had one pee diaper. He's got to have 2 for you to go home. So you can't leave until that happens. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. When it happens, then we'll go. Now, I don't know what it was, but my baby decided that he just wasn't gonna have a PB diaper for a while, or maybe he just didn't pee enough for the diaper to turn blue. And this is where things went kind of left, and it really tainted the experience for me. So I'm gonna touch on it. I don't know if maybe I'll do a further video on it, but it just was not a vibe for me. So basically, hours went by and he didn't pee. So, you know, it was just certain things that they were saying in certain comments that just made me feel like they ruined it. You know what I'm saying? It's so scary to have a baby and all these things, and they just made it like 20 times worse. Then they came in and they asked how I was feeding my baby. So I said, I am breastfeeding, which I thought would be something that would be celebrated and all that greatness. But because he needed to have this wet diaper, now it started becoming a thing. Okay, well, we think you should give him some formula so you can get the wet diaper and you can get out of here. That's not gonna happen. I made it clear that I didn't want to give my baby formula on Friday. Since he was born, he didn't have formula, so I just didn't understand what the issue was. You know, like, I felt like I'm basically doing what I need to do. So all of this for a wet diaper. Sorry, I'm feeding him. So weird. But yeah, so they made this big deal on having formula and all this stuff like that. I said no. A few more hours passed by and they're like, oh, he still hasn't had a pee diaper and all this stuff like that. And I told them I wouldn't mind taking donated like breast milk, like from a donor, because now they were questioning like my supply and if it was enough for baby, which is so crazy because your body produces what your baby needs. And when a baby is first born, like their belly is so small, and it just was crazy. So eventually we came to me needing to pump so they could see my supply, which all the research I did was you don't pump right away because you don't want to speed up your supply because your baby can only have but so much. So basically I ended up pumping 3 times in like an hour. And I was producing enough, like he had enough. So I ended up pumping like 3 times within the hour, and they were like, oh, your supply is good, so we'll wait a couple more hours. And we were supposed to leave at noon. At this time it's pushing almost 6 o'clock in the evening, and I just told them, like, I'm not staying here another night. How am I supposed to recover when I don't feel comfortable? I'm not getting enough sleep. Like, it just made 0 sense to me. So eventually my nurse, she was like, oh, okay, let me see what I can do. Or I think it was a lactation consultant. At that point though, I wasn't talking to anybody because I really felt like, excuse me, I really didn't want to be rude or disrespectful to everybody, but it just felt like, you know, on top of me already feeling so many different emotions after having a baby for the first time, that they were instilling this doubt in me and in my body and in what I'm capable of, and it just started really making me, oh my god, I'm getting emotional. It started really making me like question like myself, and it just turned from like a good day of like going home with your baby to like, you're gonna send me off with this baby, basically making me feel like I didn't know what I was doing. So my mom basically did the talking from there, and I cried before we left because now I just really was doubting like myself, and I just felt like, you know, you see these things and like people going home from the hospital. I don't want the crying to get in the way of like what I'm saying. So it just turned the experience into something that I don't know, you just see it differently on social media and for other people, and it just wasn't. The only good part is that I was getting to leave and I just wanted out, so I really didn't do much talking. I signed all the paperwork that I needed to sign. Even when my nurse like hugged me to leave, and it sucked because the entire time me and my mom talked about how amazing she was, and she was just like, you get some nurses sometimes and they're like jerks, and she was so amazing the whole time. It just turned into this whole thing about this one diaper, and it just turned everything awful. But I did eventually get to come home, and that will be a story for another time. But that is basically my labor and delivery in a nutshell. It wasn't my dream labor, it wasn't my dream delivery, but I look at it as I'm healthy as a horse. Everything went smoothly. My baby, he's here, he's healthy as a horse. He'll be 3 months tomorrow, and we're 3 months strong on breastfeeding. And I'm just thankful that nothing went wrong as like health-wise, and that regardless of the doubt that they try to put in my brain, I stuck to my guns, and my baby is thriving. He is so chunky, it's so crazy. I think before I always thought like, oh, breastfed babies are probably like smaller than like formula. No, he's a chunk. He's a chunk-a-monk. But yeah, so that's it. I did not plan to film today. I'm still in my robe, breast milk all over the place, but that is my labor and delivery. Baby is here, he's healthy. I'm so excited to share him with you guys. I'm not going to overshare or overexpose because I want to keep this little innocent boy protected from everything. but I will be sharing him, just, you know, mostly for like me to be able to look back. I don't know if filming that video today just got me back in the groove of wanting to film, because it is so much fun to look back on these things. I swear this is like the joy of it all. So I will be sharing him. I'm not going to share him today because we've got things to do, and it's literally 2 o'clock in the, almost 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So we have to get moving. But I just want to say thanks for stopping in. That's how that's how my baby came into this world. So I'm gonna end it here, guys. If you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel so you don't miss a beat. This channel is going in a different direction, but it's going in a fun one, so stick around. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.